Good morning. Welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman. Once again, it's a joy to be with you, to share my words, my sensing, my messages with each of you so that we all understand that there is really no separation amongst any of us except that separation which we so choose to create in defiance of who we truly are. Good morning. I see 4 people arriving. That's good. So it seems we're online working. This morning's talk is about your universal resonance. And I'm really not so sure how that's going to unfold for us. But I woke up with a sense of belonging to something far greater than I could actually comprehend enough to put in words that would be simple and easy for everybody to understand. I think many of you right now are reaching that point within yourselves where your belief systems have shifted, your sense of what's truth and not truth has been challenged, where there's a questioning in all of us of where are we going? How are we getting there? What are we doing? Many people are leaving this plane of existence. Maybe not more than usual, but at least for me, it seems closer to me. Many of you may feel that as well. There's pain, there's suffering, there's lying, there's cheating, there's all kinds of activities that humans are engaging in that are not only detrimental to the world around them, but they're actually destroying themselves from within. So with that pleasant note, let's talk about your universal resonance. And good morning, Andrea, Anna, Olivia, Linda. So as you know, I don't usually talk about depressing things. And that was as depressing as I can get, was that opening. What I want to talk about is, how do we define universal resonance? How do we begin to tap into it? How do we begin to recognize that is who and what we are? So the definitions I thought about were, for the word universal, it was present or occurring everywhere. So to me, the universe is everywhere. It's always happening. It's all around me, whether I'm aware of or not. And it's existent or operative everywhere and under all conditions. So at no time, no matter what's going on in my life or your life, the universe is still universing. There you go, universing. How do we universe? Good morning, Shelley. So how do we create that feeling of resonance within us? Many of us have a lot of modalities that we use to take us out of what we would call the mundane and the rough and the tough and bring us into a place of stillness, a place of wellness, a place of wholeness. That's resonance. That's what resonance is. Resonance, as I wrote this morning, it's a synchronous energetic relationship that creates more stable and harmonious structures. Wow. What does that mean? In simplicity, what it means is that when we come into a field of resonance, which we are, but when we come into it in a balanced state, everything melts together and there is no discord. There is no imbalance. It is calm. It is gentle. It is creative. It is powerful. It's not weak at all. It's not a surrender. It's actually a place of raw, pure energy. So my question here was, how's your universal resonance doing these days? Probably much like mine. It's up and down, peaks and valleys. It's crazy. I could never have written a month ago what I've been through in the past month of January. There was no way I could conceptualize it. There was no way I could anticipate it. And no way that I could say, if I had to face it, would I want to turn around and run? I probably would have said yes. Are you feeling like that? You're not alone. That's what I'm here. That's why I'm here, is to tell you that you're not alone in this. And so what we need to do is continue to find those ways to reset that universal resonance within us. So that we create this deep, cohesive, and dynamic field of potentiality. Because the future is relying on our potential. Right now, we're stuck in a world of what are we doing? What are we thinking? Where are we going? It's all this action thing. But there's a point where we need to surrender to the field of resonance, to that inner core structure of pure potential, where we're never separated, where we can't be destroyed, yet we don't feel fully present here in the third dimension, because in truth we're not. We've entered into the greater whole of who we are. So this is not something new. Many people describe it many different ways. A lot more wise and well-educated people than I am, who have studied this, spent their lifetimes working on this, trying to figure it out. The reality is we don't have to do that anymore. It's wonderful if that's what you want to do. But what's important right now is, how do we feel it? How do we call it forth from within our heart space, the dwelling space of the universe? It's right in here. All of this is all in here. How do we call this forth to reunite with all that is there and bring ourselves back into a really powerful state of being in alignment with what I would call our original blueprint. So original blueprint, that's an interesting one. What does that mean, our original blueprint? Well, I grew up doing woodworking and working with houses and machinery and plans, so there was always a blueprint. It was a program, it was a chart, it was drawn out, it was created by many different lines of input in order to bring about structure, some sort of structure. And right now, what we're seeing in the world is that the structure is collapsing. It's imploding, if you will. And it's not that to go into fear about it, but to realize that it's a natural process when you've created a structure that has weaknesses, or you forgot to put a nail over here, or you forgot to tighten this bolt, or if somebody came along and banged into it and then said, oh, I'll just stick this board up to hold it up. I don't have to really fix this. We'll just patch it and make it look good. This is what we've done. This is what we've done as a race of amazing human beings. And so divine blueprints are not something that are transient. They're permanent. They're a permanent blueprint of creation, in alignment and designed at a level of conscious awareness that we will never in this physical body be able to fully comprehend or speak of. And that's perfect, because we'd probably use it to destroy ourselves even faster. But these blueprints are permanent, yet we can manipulate them, and we have. And what we see in the world today is how they've been manipulated. And now it's our turn to think back in our ancestry, thousands and thousands of years ago, and call forth some of those imprints of that original blueprint of who we were, who we are, how we got along with each other, how we ran around naked, not even having, any shame, how we worked in co-creation with nature, with the elementals, with the earth, with the water, how there wasn't an us and them mindset, that we're human and everything else is beneath us. So, as we understand and go back and look at our ancestry, we see the damage we've inflicted on each other, and yet we also see that there were groups who were always seeking the truth and always trying to uphold the truth, always trying to share the truth. Yes, over time it got perverted, just like everything else, because we weren't in resonance. We were in distortion. And the further the distortion expanded, the worse the outcome, or the, more in non-alignment with who we truly are, we've become. This is where we're at. And it's our universal resonance right now that we need to really tap into and find more moments in our lives where we can feel safe, complete, whole, loved by us. Never mind everybody else. Us. Look in your hearts. Look into your hearts. Look for those tears. They're there. Those are the tears of lies and stories we've been told about who we are and what we've done. And we're walking around carrying all of this with us. And it doesn't need to be. The field of resonance does not support that. That takes an amazing amount of our energy to sustain. It's like we're trying to run a nuclear reactor from a light plug in our body. And then when we come into this moment of new beginnings, of course we're tired. Of course we're frustrated. Of course we feel defeated. But we're not. Each one of us are part of this universal resonance. And what we need to do is now find where are the weakest parts within us. Where are those parts where it's showing up? Not to judge them, but just to be observant. Can we observe places in our energetic field where not because of who, what, when, where, why, but we just sense something is not right. Something is just not right. Let go of the mind that wants to figure it out. It wants to know who, what, when, where, why, and how. God bless the mind. With your heart, say, where is this in my heart? Because this is where we're carrying it. And this is where our universal resonance emits from. Doesn't emit from here. Universal resonance emits through your hearts. I had funny cards this morning. I had pulled the Universal Connection card again this morning, which was interesting. I won't read the whole thing, but it's basically says, the awe and wonder of the universe is within me and connects me with all living creatures. And I already picked the title before I picked the card. So I said, okay, that's a confirmation. And then we have a message from Kuan Yin, which we've had before. That's the many, many hands of the goddess. Many hands of the goddess. Look at all that. That's all our arms. We get so much help. We get so much we can do. That's who we are. And we have the support. We have the support of the divine. And the part of the reading is the guidance from Kuan Yin, Golden Kuan Yin, is to release your worries and intentions to her and let her guide you. When you feel strongly to work on a particular project, perhaps to focus on it for a time, do so. When you feel to step back from it and rest, do so. In the rest, you will replenish, gain new perspective, and return to your creative work more productive. It is an essential part of the process. The process of evolution is what we are experiencing. We have always been experiencing the process of evolution. The challenge now is this is a collective evolution, not just a personal evolution. Everything is evolving simultaneously. I know we have species that are leaving. That's part of their evolutionary path. We have species that are coming in, just being created. That's part of the evolutionary path. It's not something to go into fear over. The challenge for us now is, how do we align with the universal resonance that flows through us, no matter how small a trickle it is, and expand it and trust it. So I have a saying I've been saying lately, we're moving through the eye of the needle, and everybody's probably heard that metaphor in different ways, depending on what religious or spiritual understanding you heard it from. And really, it's just we're squeezing through this tiny, tiny, tiny crevice, and the thought of that is even painful. Of, oh, that doesn't. I don't want to do that. But I now see it differently. I see it as a very long, thin path, a corridor, a crack in the wall of the mountain, very long and very thin, and it narrows down to a point where it's impossible to pass. And you go into that fear. Am I stuck? Am I stuck halfway in, halfway out? And I feel that this is what we're experiencing collectively. And as most of you know, you're releasing crap all over the place. Not that you want to, but it's coming up and you're saying, I can't carry this anymore. Put it down. Oh, I can't bring this with me. I have no room. I can't waste my time or my thought on that project anymore. Not that it's a bad project or something, but I'm preparing. I need to be aware for something that's coming up new. This is that long, narrow eye of the needle. And to take a deeper look at the structure of energies you're experiencing right now in all aspects of your life. Realize that they're all being offered to us to release if they no longer serve the purpose or get us stuck halfway through this passage. Call it a passage to the mountains. It's very narrow. We'll make it. We're going to make it. We were designed to make it. This was part of the whole process of how do we do this? We're going to be run through this eye of the needle. But it's not going to take a day. It's not going to be a week. It's going to be as long as it takes for us to come back into our multidimensional, universal consciousness and heart resonance. And I know that I'm working on it, you're working on it, there's millions of us that are working on it. And in that working on it, we are shifting the energies into a higher alignment that we may not readily see right now in this moment, because there's so much surface activity. But you are the universal resonance in living form. And you are far more powerful than you really think you are. So today I call on you to call on your universal resonance. Think about it. Play with it. Open your minds as wide as your hearts. To the same resonant frequency. Take the little moments of time to pause, breathe, meditate, play some peaceful harmonic vibration. Doesn't matter what the source is, it's the frequency. Right now, it's all about frequency, about balancing our frequency. And I wouldn't even go into what's coming through my mind right now, because it's irrelevant of what else is happening. What's most important is how are we working with the frequencies that we are? And how can we tap into them and make them more powerful and more upfront so that we live in our truth. Wonderful book here, Silence of the Heart, which is dialogues with Robert Adams from a while back. Anyway, there's a message here, surrender. And I wanted to read it to you because As I prepared my notes and did this for the show this morning and went through my own personal journey, I realized that what has helped me the most is being able to surrender. And surrender is not a word we fondly or appreciate too much, especially in the male genre. This is like the Antichrist to surrender. I mean, it's insane what we've done with that. But it doesn't mean that you lose. And that's where we've misunderstood it. So surrender really is just a deepening into a space that's not comfortable, because there's nothing there for us to relate to and see and grab a hold of and give reason for to. It's a complete emptying. It's a pouring out and opening that space, that empty field, of which there is no empty field. But it appears empty. In truth, it's a universal resonance. And when we can do that more and more, when we can surrender to that place within us, automatically, like little lights lighting up across the world, everybody will get ping, 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 and they'll start to awaken en masse. So, surrender. There is really nothing to say. Words are superfluous. The only reason I use words is so you can detect the silence in the words. Silence is truth. You cannot explain truth in words. The words become meaningless, redundant. The truth comes to you of its own free will. When you prepare yourself through deep surrender to your capital S self, giving up all attachment, giving up your body, your mind, and everything that's important to you, to the self. As long as you're holding on to anything, the reality will evade you. The reality only comes when you give up yourself. When you give up your ego. When you give up your needs, your wants. Trying to make something happen. Desires. When you give up trying to become self-realized. When you just give up. Then something wonderful happens. You begin to expand. Not your body, but the consciousness which you are. You become all-pervading, absolute reality. It happens by itself. And the question beneath that is, to whom do you surrender? And I leave you with that to think about, is that when we completely surrender all of which we think we have to hold on to, we really finally come to face to face with the truth of who we are, no matter how you've been taught to understand it. Today, I'm going to call it your universal resonance. May you be blessed with your universal resonance. And I want to thank you all for showing up, focusing on health. I'll read a couple of your spirituals is easier. Keep focusing on that universal resonance, which is health in its purest form. It exists. We just have to bring it into our field of resonance. For letting me go and resting in this field of resonance, generative humility and peace that abounds. Thank you. Shelley, dear, bless you for being here. I don't usually get to see you on my show. I'm usually on your shows. Victoria, thank you. Such wisdom. It's your wisdom. It's everyone's wisdom. It's not mine. I just become the voice. I just become the energy expanding. So with that, I am complete. I want you to think about universal resonance on any level that it comes to you. There's no one way. There's no perfect answer. But what it really means is coming back into ourselves and surrendering to that being, no matter what has happened in our lives, and realizing how amazingly powerful and beautiful that original blueprint that created this structure and the structure that we live in, that we are a part of 24/7, can't escape, even through death. We are amazing. Love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. Together, we are unity. See you next week. May the blessings of peace, light, and love flow, 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 flow. Have a great week. Bye-bye.